They say the world is unyielding, that it moves on its own axis, driven by forces beyond our control. They say reality is rigid, that fate is carved in stone, and the rules were written long before we arrived. That life, well, life just happens. To us, around us, in spite of us. But what if they were wrong? Cut to shots of inventors, dreamers, children staring at stars, dancers in motion, revolutionaries, artists. What if the world isn't some immutable thing, some cold machine we're forced to navigate blindly? What if the world is soft clay, waiting, aching to be shaped? What if the very fabric of reality bends? Not for the strong, not for the lucky, not even for the chosen, but for the aware, for the thinker. Not the overthinker who drowns in questions, not the daydreamer who sleeps in fantasies, but the true thinker, the conscious architect of thought. The one who understands that thought is not just a whisper in the head, but a command to the universe. Cut to a person in silence, eyes closed, meditating. A ripple moves outward from their stillness, distorting the scenery. Every skyscraper began as a thought. Every revolution, every masterpiece, every breakthrough, every transformation, from darkness into light, was sparked by an invisible impulse, a single idea, focused and fed until the world had no choice but to respond. You see, thought is not passive. Thought is not harmless. Thought is causality. Cut to someone walking through a crowd. As they pass, lights flicker, people turn, time seems to slow. When you learn how to think, not just to react or reflect, but to create, you unlock something ancient and powerful. You begin to see that the world isn't what it is. It's what you accept it to be. And when you stop accepting, when you dare to bend the rules with your mind alone, the world starts to move. It starts to shift. It listens. Cut to epic sequences of change, wars ending, cures being discovered, bridges being built. One person starts each movement. One mind, one decision. This isn't magic. This isn't mysticism. This is alignment. This is mental gravity. The power to think with clarity so deep, so unwavering, that the world must reshape itself in response. You're not small. You're not powerless. You're not here to adapt to the world. You're here to command it. Fade into black. One sentence appears in silence. Think, and the world will bend for you. Comment below. What part of today's affirmation, what you think you become, resonated with you most deeply? Why do you think it struck a chord? Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you're serious about changing the way you think and showing up as your highest self every single day, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss your daily mental reset. Chapter 1. The Invisible Hand. There is something they never taught us in school. Something they whispered about in ancient temples, but stripped from our textbooks. Something so powerful, so terrifying, that it had to be buried beneath distractions, noise, and the machinery of modern life. Here it is. Your thoughts create patterns that shape the very experience of your life. The camera slowly pans across various people. A woman rushing through traffic. A man stuck in a tiny apartment staring at a screen. A teenager watching others live through their phones. All of them trapped in cycles. Different forms. Same prison. You've heard it before, haven't you? Thoughts become things. But they made it sound too cute, like it was a gimmick, a slogan for mugs and t-shirts. They left out the gravity, the consequence, that every thought is a choice, a vote cast into the fabric of reality. That if you think in fear, you invite fear. If you think in limitation, you breed walls around you. If you think in resentment, the world gives you more reasons to resent. Flashbacks cut quickly, a series of moments where tiny internal thoughts led to large, life-altering events. Someone giving up before trying, someone pushing forward and achieving the impossible. The contrast is stark, and it's not your fault. You were raised to believe that your mind was just a voice box, that thoughts are like background noise, echoing out of your control. But your mind is a forge, a sacred fire, and every thought you feed it becomes a hammer, a chisel, a mold. This is the invisible hand, not some mysterious force outside of you, but the inner current that pulls your world into form. Cut to the solitary figure walking. This time he stops, kneels down, and draws a line in the dirt. Then another crossing it, a simple cross, a decision point. The first truth is this: you are not your thoughts, but you do have the power to choose them. And what you choose, again and again, becomes the weather of your life. You either live by default or by design. Music begins to swell softly as the figure looks up and sees the sun begin to rise. When I first understood this, not read it, not recited it, but felt it down to my bones, everything changed. I stopped asking the world to change for me. I stopped blaming the system. I stopped fighting the river. And I began to direct it. Chapter 4. Thoughts have shape. Every thought has a shape, a form, a direction, a tendency. He builds until it finally holds. It's imperfect, but beautiful. He smiles, not because it's flawless, but because he built it. Some thoughts build, some destroy. Some invite freedom. Others reinforce walls. The camera shifts to the grown version of the boy. He stands in a bare room, blueprint paper taped to the walls, not of buildings, of a new life. Most of us were never taught to sculpt thought. We inherited thought patterns the way we inherit furniture, outdated, heavy, not meant for the life we're trying to live. Cut to flashes of inherited sayings. Money doesn't grow on trees. People like us don't get far. Play it safe. That's just how the world is. He circles a question on a whiteboard, stares at it, begins sketching again. But what if you could design your thoughts the way an architect designs a cathedral? What if you could sculpt belief the way a poet sculpts meaning from silence? He draws a triangle, each point labeled thought, emotion, action. It spins like a loop, a system. Here's what they never told you. Your thoughts don't just influence how you feel. They influence what you do. And what you do builds the world around you. Not metaphorically, literally. We cut to two parallel realities. The same person, same moment. One who says, "I'm not ready," and never moves. The other says, "Let's try." And that single shift births an entirely new timeline. A small shift in thought creates a new path. 1 degree of change today, and you're in a different life 5 years from now. He now walks through a hall of frozen versions of himself, each one shaped by a different belief system. One angry, one depressed, one lit with joy, one darkened by shame. The shape of your life is the echo of your mental geometry. You are not fixed. You are not static. You are not doomed to repeat the patterns of your childhood, your culture, or your trauma. You are clay, wet and warm, and waiting for decision. And thought is the sculptor. He steps to a blank statue, picks up the chisel, breathes, and strikes. The first blow. It begins. The mind, when shaped, shapes everything. Chapter 5. The Resistance. The scene opens at dawn. Fog drapes over a forest. The man walks alone on a winding path. Every step forward feels deliberate, but the silence is heavy, like something unseen watches, something ancient, something waiting. No one tells you what happens after the awakening, after the clarity, after the declaration that you will shape your life with intention. What happens next is resistance. A single crow flies overhead. The man stops walking, looks around. The fog thickens. He can't see the path ahead anymore. You make a decision that you will think differently, that you will speak powerfully, that you will act with alignment. And then, the tests begin. Flash to scenes of the man at work. He sits in a meeting, speaks with new confidence, and is dismissed. He pitches a new idea and is laughed at. He shares a new goal, and old friends mock him, gently but with weight. Resistance doesn't come from monsters. It comes from comfort, from patterns, from the version of the world you helped create with your old thinking. Still trying to keep you. A phone buzzes, a text. Let's just chill tonight instead. He stares, feels the pull, the safety. He puts the phone down. The life you're trying to leave doesn't want to let go. It remembers who you used to be, and it will whisper, "Stay small. Don't be weird. Don't break what works. Don't leave us behind." But you must. Now he's back in his apartment, at his desk, a blank notebook in front of him. He picks up the pen. Nothing comes. Self-doubt begins to creep in like a shadow. There's something cruelly ironic about growth. The clearer your mind becomes, the louder the world tries to confuse you. The cleaner your thoughts, the more chaos you'll feel echoing from the outside. The more you build a new self, the more the old self will scream to survive. A montage of subtle temptations, sleeping in, skipping meditation, ignoring the call to act, all disguised as harmless choices. But he knows better now. He can feel the cost. Resistance is not punishment. It is not personal. It is proof that you are stepping beyond the bounds of your previous design, that you are leaving the gravity of old beliefs. And gravity pulls. He slams the notebook shut, stands up, paces. Stop. Comment below. What part of today's affirmation, what you think you become, resonated with you most deeply? Why do you think it struck a chord? Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you're serious about changing the way you think and showing up as your highest self every single day, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss your daily mental reset.